Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different. I felt it was a nice time to move away from just rewriting sentences to have a go at something else. So today we're going to be having a go at this vocabulary challenge that you can see on your screens at the moment. Now the idea is, as you've got at the top here, every day here, you have a synonym, a word, and then the antonym, and then the antonym. Okay. Now we've looked at synonyms and antonyms this year. Synonyms are words that mean the same as the original word, and antonyms are words that mean the opposite. Okay. So what it's asking you to do is look at the original word, and then you're going to come up with some synonyms and some antonyms for that word. Okay. Now I've had a go at this already, and it confused me a little bit because the words that you've got at the bottom down here. I know that's a pencil. Down here, they haven't given you all of the words that you need, which is what was confusing me. There were many failed attempts at this video already because of that. So, which is why I've got this little writing pad up here, because what we're going to have to do is not fill it in on here. We're going to have to do some writing on here instead, because it hasn't given us all the words ingeniously. But I thought the vocabulary that they were using in some parts was brilliant, so I thought it was definitely worth a look from us. So, if I were you, I would pause the video here. I would have a look through. I would try and find the synonyms and the antonyms that you can, and then when you run out of ideas, come back to the video, because it might be that there aren't actually any answers there and you have to make your own up. Okay, I've got the answers here, so I can tell you the words that they're meant to put in, and we can have a discussion and maybe some other words as well. But you can use this as an opportunity to try and find the synonyms and antonyms down here, and then it's an opportunity for you to make your own up as well, which is why I thought it was worth doing. So the first one, boost. Okay, we do have a synonym down in the list at the bottom, so I can fill that one in. So you've got boost. Do it this way. So you've got boost. My handwriting's going to be awful because I'm off the edge. So you've got boost. So the two synonyms are going to go here, and the two antonyms will go here, and we'll do it that way. Okay. So boost. The first synonym that you've got is enhance, which is there. I can fill that one in. Enhance. Okay. So if you were to boost something, it means obviously make it more. And if you were to enhance something, I normally see enhance used for sort of talking about machinery or technology. You would enhance it in that way. Okay. And then the second word, I know for a fact, because I've already done the video up to this point once, isn't on my list at the bottom. So it's an opportunity for you to make up your own. So if you were to boost something, you might up level, but I don't really think that's the best use of vocab. The word that they chose was upgrade. My handwriting today will be absolutely awful because I'm struggling off the edge of the... See if that helps. Off the edge of the screen. So you've got enhance and upgrade. Okay, so then you need some antonyms, some words that mean the opposite. Now there's definitely one at the bottom, but the other one is missing. Okay, so the first antonym that you're given is diminish. So if boost is improving something, if it's making it better, diminish is to reduce. Okay, if you were to diminish something, so you might diminish the amount of paper that you have in your house by getting rid of some. Okay, so it doesn't quite mean the exact opposite of boost, but this is why that use of language is really important. If you were to say, I've diminished a pack of biscuits, it doesn't really work. Okay, diminish has specific uses. And then the other one that's not given is lessen. Okay, which means to lessen something, to reduce again. Okay, so you could actually put that reduce. Okay, so you can take that one as an example as well, just so you can see how today's going to work. Some of the words were at the bottom in blue here. Now, if you spotted those, well done. But what I don't want you to do is have a guess and go, oh, I think it might mean sublime as well, put it in. If you run out of ideas, then you need to be making your own up. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So here and here, these you'd have to make up yourself. Okay, I'm telling you that's what they said they wanted, but obviously the answers aren't there. So that's an opportunity for you to start going through your personal vocabularies and pulling words out. Okay, so I'll clear all that ink off, and then we'll go on to the second one. So number 2, agonising. Now if something is agonising, it means it's very painful. Okay, so you're looking for words initially that mean the same. Spelled it right? No. You're looking for words that mean the same as painful. Okay, so if we go to the bottom, apprehend, no. Excruciating. If something is excruciating, it means it's incredibly painful. Okay, so excruciating is one. So let's keep going. Soothing, panic, ambiguous, release, enlightened, genuine, harrowing is the next one. Okay. Now, if I'm going too quick for you, that's the beauty of it being a video, because you can just pause it. Okay, so if you want to have a go at finding the antonyms yourself, then pause the video, go and have a look, and then come back and see if you've got them right. Okay, and again, they might not all be in those blue words at the bottom, but they might be. These two were. Okay, these two, sorry. So agonising. So if something is the opposite of agonising, then it should be very pleasant. Okay, so let's have a look. Oh, pleasant's there. Pleasant, apprehend, satisfied, excruciating, soothing would be the other one. Okay, so these are your synonyms, and these are your antonyms. Okay, so if something was agonising, you could say that the man was sat there in excruciating pain. The harrowing thought of having to operate on his leg was causing him agonising trauma. I've structured a sentence there with 3 synonyms. They all mean the same thing. But I can't say the man was in agony. He was agonising over the agony in his leg that was giving him agony. It's boring. Okay. Annoyed. And they've given us one here to help us. So we've got annoyed. Oh, I mean, orange there. Okay. And then we've got pleased. Now, hopefully you all know what annoyed means. It means you're cross. So we're looking for words that mean cross. So if you're cross, you're disgruntled. Got that right? Yeah. Disgruntled. Disgruntled's a lovely word. Don't come across it very often. If you're disgruntled, it just means you're sort of irritated. You're a little bit, I don't know, can we have a thing? Say you went to the shop and they were sold out of what you wanted, you'd be disgruntled. You'd just be a little bit, oh, for goodness sake, well, I'm not very happy about that. That's sort of disgruntled. It's not really, really cross. It's just inconvenienced, I suppose, would be a good one to describe disgruntled. So you've got disgruntled, and then you've got irritated. Okay. Irritated. So you've got disgruntled, irritated are your synonyms. Annoyed is the word, so we're looking for something else that means you're quite happy. Satisfied. There you go. We're not having to make many of these up now, are we, actually? So satisfied are your antonyms. Okay. These two mean the opposite of annoyed. These two mean you are annoyed. Lovely. Nice and straightforward again. Okay. So we've been given loads here. I will write them out. With a rubber, again. Glorious. So if something's glorious, it means it's amazing, doesn't it? That was a glorious dinner. It's a glorious view, so it means it's beautiful, it's lovely, it's wonderful. And it's really useful to have that sort of rounded vocabulary for a piece of description, because I might say your, I don't know, your shoes look glorious today. And I don't mean they look glorious, I mean they look clean. So glorious doesn't always work. It's useful to have lots of synonyms around a word so that you can really know what you want to use glorious for. So glorious, they've got second rate. It's quite an insult, actually, to call something second rate. And lowly. So if I were to say to you that dinner was second rate, it means it's not as good as the top tier. It's below what I would expect, I suppose. And lowly for me has sort of connotations, sort of inklings of being poor. If I were to say that was really lowly, it was really he I don't know, he drives a lowly car. Maybe don't come across lowly very much, apart from to describe wealth. Really is when I come across it. Okay, so you've been given those. You've got divine. So we're just looking for one more synonym that means glorious. Sublime, I think. Yep, sublime. Sublime is a beautiful word. I really like sublime. Sublime means it's absolutely perfect. And sublime, again, has connotations in my head of meaning that sleek. So if something's sublime, it's sleek and it's perfectly crafted. So imagine, I don't know, a new piece of technology is what I think of, I suppose. So maybe they release a new phone, and it's sublime. It's beautifully crafted. It works beautifully. It's everything is spot on. That's where I'd use sublime. You can use it in other contexts. You could say, "Oh, that dinner was sublime." Your dress is sublime. But to me, it has those ideas. If I'm using sublime, I mean everything is crafted to perfection. Whereas glorious just means it's very good. Okay, so we'll get rid of those. Horror. You might be able to hear somebody reading upstairs. Horror. So, you've been given confidence. Bit of an odd one, that. But if you think about it in the form of how you would feel in a horror film, you'd feel quite scared. Confidence would be the opposite. Or if you were horrified, if you walked into a room and you were horrified to see, I don't know, all of your parents sat in there, all of your family sat in there staring at you, you might stand back in horror. But if you walked in with confidence, it's the opposite reaction, isn't it? All of your parents. Calmness. And again, on the same handwriting's going scruffy again, sorry. On the same idea, if you walk into a room with calmness, it's different to walking into a room with horror. Okay? So you need to find the synonyms that mean horror. So we've done excruciating. Harrowing, I would imagine, is one. No, it's not. Trepidation is one. Trepidation is a lovely word as well. If I can write it, sorry, form my P wrong there. Trepidation is that sort of timidly, cowardly. Again, imagine wandering around a haunted house and you're sort of tiptoeing, very gently opening the doors. You'd be doing it with trepidation. Okay, it's a really powerful, powerful word that it tells you a lot about character. If I were to say Jonathan walked with trepidation into the house, trepidation does an awful lot of the work in the sentence there in terms of the description. You don't really need to tell me anything else. I get what you mean by trepidation. It's a very descriptive word. Trepidation. Let's have a look. Oh, it's there. Ooh. Panic. Okay, panic. If you didn't get those, but you've made up your own, that's fair enough as well. It's not the end of the world if you do miss one. I'd rather you were making up your own than put in satisfied means the same as horror in there. But panic. If you walk into a room with panic, you walk into a room with horror. It's the same idea, isn't it? Okay. Excuse me. Underhand. Oh, underhand's a really good word. I like that one. So underhand. If you're underhand, you're very sneaky. Okay. I always think of it as doing business maybe under the table, putting your hand under the table and maybe passing money along. I don't know whether that's where it came from, but it's what I think of. So if you're underhand, it means you're not to be trusted. You're unreliable. You're sneaky. You're deceptive. You're a tricky customer. You're a bit of a nasty one. Okay. So they've given you the complete antonym, which means reliable. So let's have a look for another antonym. So you've got reliable. I would imagine genuine. Let me just check. Yeah, sorry. Just the I, didn't I? Sorry. Genuine. Okay, that's an E, sorry. So genuine. Again, if you're genuine, you're to be trusted. Everything that somebody can say about you is true. So that makes a lot of sense as well. Okay. So now we need the two synonyms. So if you are underhand, you are you ambiguous? Yeah, you are. So if you're ambiguous, that's a little bit different. Oh, goodness me, sorry about that handwriting. I hope you can read that. If you're ambiguous, it means somebody can't quite nail you down. And what I mean by that is they don't quite get everything about you. So say they go, where are you from? And they might go, around, or down south. How old are you? Old enough, older than you. They're being quite ambiguous. They're not being specific. Whereas if somebody was reliable or genuine, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Doncaster. I'm from Preston. Okay, so that's the difference between ambiguity. So I've probably taught you this year about ambiguity and like your writing, your answers. Make sure that you're specific. Okay, ambiguity is just that little bit of lack of clarity where you're not quite clear on what you're saying or doing or who you are. Okay, so for me, I would use underhand and I would use ambiguous in different terms. I wouldn't expect them to be. I couldn't say the man was underhand and the man was ambiguous. It changed things a little bit. Underhand makes it feel like he's going to rob me. Ambiguous makes it feel like he's just a mysterious character. And a lot of your books that you've read, you'll have mysterious characters that are good. So calling somebody underhand normally would be the villain or the bad guy. Okay. And then I need ambiguous. Deceptive, I would imagine. Yeah, deceptive. Now, deceptive shares a lot of the root word with deceive, and if you deceive somebody, you trick them. So if you're deceptive, you're quite slippery. You trick people quite easily. Okay, and again, you can see how that links to underhand. Yeah, so that's nice and straightforward. That one. So I'll move on. Two more. Capture. Okay, you all know what capture means, I'm sure. Liberate means to uncapture or to free. Okay, so liberate means to free somebody. So if you liberate them, you release them. Okay, now if you capture somebody, you might apprehend them. Now, normally, I come across apprehend or apprehension in terms of arresting. So you might apprehend a crook or a criminal. Okay, so it has that sort of connotation. So you wouldn't say I apprehended a photograph last night, but you can capture a photograph. Or I apprehended a mouse because it makes it sound like the mouse was up to no good. If you capture a mouse, you've just caught a mouse in your house. I keep looking over there like I've got a mouse. I haven't got a mouse. If you apprehend somebody, it makes it almost feel like like I said, you've arrested them like a criminal. Apprehend and right, let's go through them. So it's not apprehend, it's not satisfied, it's not excruciating, it's not soothing, it's not panic. What we're doing, capture, ambiguous, release, enlighten, genuine, harrowing, sublime, elite, trepidation, discombobulate, irritated, pleasant, no, obviously, diminish, no, so it's not there. So let's make one up. If you capture somebody, you seize them. Okay, so there wasn't an answer there on these, so there's another trick one for you. So it's an opportunity for you to make one up. Okay, those are your synonyms, those are your antonyms. Sorry, head's not in that one, is it? Okay, last one. Bewilder. So if you're bewildered, you're very shocked. Okay, bewilder for me is not just shocked; it's very shocked. It's you're completely taken aback by what you've seen. You're absolutely lost for words. You haven't got any way to express yourself. Okay, so clarify. So if you're bewildered, you might say, there was a man over there, and sound all bewildered. If you're clarifying, you'd be very clear. There was a 6'3" man wearing a jacket stood over there. So you're adding clarity to your explanation. Okay, so you're clarifying what you're saying. You're adding explanation, I suppose. Okay. So the other antonym would be enlighten. And if you enlighten somebody, it means you give them information. So you might have heard somebody say, enlighten me, tell me more. means exactly that. Give me more information. Okay. So, say you witnessed a crime, you might be able to enlighten the police by telling them about it, or you might be able to enlighten a friend in class. Say, if they're confused on a question and you tell them how to do it, you've enlightened them. Okay. Now the opposite, they've given you one. It's flustered. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. And then there is here another synonym, and it is discombobulate. I saw it earlier. Not a big fan of the word discombobulate, to be honest. It's one of those words that children your age will just chuck in for the sake of because it sounds funny. Discombobulate means you're sort of very confused and unsure of yourself. Normally, after sort of maybe a hit to the head, it might discombobulate you. So you sort of your memories and your sort of processing power is out of sorts for a little bit. So you might say maybe after you got an action scene, a car crash or something, the man walked out discombobulated. He's a bit unsure of himself. Okay. But like I said, I'm not a big fan. It's got its uses, but it's not useful all the time. Okay, it's very specific circumstances you'd use discombobulate. So I hope you managed to get some of those, if not all of them. There were some very tricky words in there, and I hope that you've managed to learn a couple as well. To tell you the truth, I hope some of that vocab was new to you, and you've managed to lock it away and think, well, I'll make use of that. The best way to come across new vocab is when you're reading or something like this. Somebody explains how to use it, and you lock it away, and then you make use of it later. So I hope to see that in some of your writing.